Welcome to the 2024 softball preview press conference here with second-year head coach Craig Nicholson. First, Coach, we'll just start with an opening statement of kind of how state of the program, softball program here at the University of Akron.
Yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape. We're looking forward to the season. We've had 4 good weeks of practice. We got about a week left to finish off some things and get ourselves ready to go. But we're excited and we're really looking forward to getting on the dirt and getting things rolling.
Go ahead and give us a little bit of knowledge on kind of your out-of-conference, non-conference schedule.
Yeah, so we open up with 4 tournaments: Florida Gulf Coast, USC Upstate, Furman, and Austin Peay. I think it's a good balance of some really good competition, some games that we would like to go into expecting to win. So there's a good mix of that in there. But we're going to get tested non-conference. We're going to be challenged, especially the first 2 weekends. I think we're playing some traditionally really good programs, and I think it's going to give us a good measuring stick of kind of where we're at early in the year. And the one thing I always feel like early in the year is if you really don't do something well, you might not quite know it yet, but somebody else is going to show you. So we're looking forward to getting out and kind of testing ourselves against outside competition and kind of seeing where we're at and knowing where we need to improve.
Coach, you have a lot of what's the word? Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. Coach, you have a lot of returning players this season. Talk about any player that has shown leadership throughout the practice season.
Yeah, so we have about half our team this year is returners, and about half is new. So I feel like it's a pretty good mix. It's a balance. I think one of the challenges with that early was just kind of what you don't want in a program is having kind of 2 camps, the returners and all the new people. So trying to get everybody on the same page and meshing that together, I think, was a challenge. And I think as we've spent more and more time together, we've gotten definitely better in that area. I think our seniors as a group and the returning seniors, Madison Dudek, Tiffany Stevens, Callie McIntosh Holder, the 3 seniors that have been in this program since they were freshmen, I think have done a really good job of they're more lead by example types. Don't say a heck of a lot, but go out and kind of take care of their business on an everyday basis. And I think that kind of rubs off on some of our youth that we have in the program. And, and ideally that's a piece that moving forward, they kind of take that leadership role of what's that look like on game day and stuff like that. How are we getting ourselves ready to play? What's the vibe like on the bus versus when we get to the field and when the game starts and those kind of things? Because there's definitely a way that we want to go about doing what we do. And those guys haven't been in the program for 4 years, but with me for their second year now, I think they have a pretty good handle on that, and they're really good at taking care of their business and that kind of rubbing off on the rest of the group.
Haley Croyle had an amazing freshman season last year, getting 125 strikeouts. What growth have you seen in her throughout the preseason?
I think with her, it's just it's one of those things where you go in as a freshman and you're not really sure what you're capable of doing. I think if you asked her and she was being honest, she'd tell you she knew she was pretty good going into last year. But what does that really mean? What does that look like going from the high school level to the college level? And I think the biggest thing that I've seen with her is just, I would say, an increase in maturity. And just, I think she's at a point now where she expects more of herself. She went through last year kind of searching for, hoping maybe that things would go well and that kind of thing. And I think she's at a point where that's turned into expectations, and she expects a lot from herself. And, she's worked hard. She kind of fought a little bit of injury bug a little bit in the fall, 100% healthy now. And we expect big things from her again this year.
Coach, go ahead and also give us a kind of a status of the rest of the ladies who are going to end up being in the circle over the course of the season, kind of break down the position.
Yeah, so I think overall, the depth of our pitching staff is pretty good right now. So obviously we have Haley that we just talked about. Kaylee Joyce, transfer from Marshall. She's a senior, so a 1-year deal for her. Probably throws a fair number of innings for us. A little different look from Haley, but there's definitely some similarities too. And then we have 3 freshmen, Mallory Herwarden, Macy Walters, and Madison Jamrog. I think they're a group that they're going to give us some innings. They're going to grow as the season goes on. They're definitely all different, which is a good thing for us. I think one thing with our pitching staff a year ago, there was a ton of similarities. So when you were prepping for one pitcher on our staff, you were prepping for all of them, whether you thought you were or not. And I think this year we have a little bit more variety in our staff. We have, their stuff's different, and the way they're going to get hitters out is different. And I think that that gives us a little bit of an advantage now, having 5 different people that we can run out there that we trust, that do things a little bit different. I think it's harder for an offense to prepare for. So, we're kind of looking forward to seeing what that looks like in action. But, and again, in softball, a lot of times you whittle that down to 3 people as you get later in the season. But we're going to get 5 people some opportunity early and kind of see how that goes and go from there.
Talk about the newcomers on this team. I know there's a lot of them coming in, whether it be transfer, incoming freshmen. You can talk about them collectively, you can talk about them individually, just thoughts on the newcomers and what they're going to add to the softball program.
Well, there's so many new people. If I try to do it individually, I'll leave somebody out, so I don't want to do that. I think this freshman class that we recruited, great balance in terms of there's some power in that class, which is an area we were definitely lacking last year. I think we have a little bit more power in our lineup now with some of the newcomers. And with some of the returners kind of developing a little bit more power, so I think it kind of cuts both ways. But there's some speed in that group. They're pretty versatile. Many of them can play some different positions, and we're going to need them to contribute right away. We only have 10 returners really at the end of the day, so we're going to have some freshmen that, whether we like it or not, and we're fine with it, but whether we like it or not, they're going to have to go out there and they're going to have to contribute, and we're going to need them to let's say, grow up quick. And they're pretty mature kids. They're just not mature from a standpoint of, having a bunch of college at-bats and those kind of things. So from that standpoint, they're going to have to grow quickly as we get into this non-conference piece of our season and kind of go from there.
During the off season, what do you think is the biggest strength of this team currently?
I think we're really good at the 2 things that have the biggest impact on winning. I think we pitch it pretty well, and I think we hit it pretty well with this group. So those are 2 areas that are definitely strengths of ours. The area where we probably need to continue to develop and just get better and better as we go through the season is I think we got to play a little bit higher level defense. And, it's one of those things where we have days where defensively we're pretty good. We have days where we kick it around a little bit, and sometimes I think that's just sometimes I think you get a little bored of being inside. We have a great indoor facility, but sometimes I think we get tired of being in the indoor facility. So actually we're going to get out a little bit more this weekend and get a little bit more work in, but I think that's one area where we just need to pay attention to detail on the defensive side and really make sure that we're locked in on that and we're not creating extra opportunities for our opponents. So, but strength, we hit it and we pitch it. We got our team speed is pretty good, and I think those things will pay off as we go through the season.
Last season you had a pretty good record. What do you hope to improve upon this season?
Well, obviously we finished a game out of making the conference tournament last year, so that is one area where we're pretty locked in on. It being at Firestone, and we want to be a part of it. So that's a huge priority for us. I think last year was the first year for a lot of these girls, even the ones that have been in the program for a while, where they played in meaningful games in May. And I don't know that we handled the meaningful games in May quite as well as we could have, from me and our coaching staff all the way down. I think there was probably some things that I took for granted that I wish if I could go back I would have addressed beforehand, not afterwards. But I think we really pressed at the end. You know, it was, like I said, it was the first time we were playing competitive games late in the season, and we know we got a chance to get in the tournament. And we probably played a little bit out of character late in the season. I mean, we still went 3-3 in those last two series against good ball clubs. We needed to go 4-2. And like I said, I just feel like we pressed a little bit, and there were some uncharacteristic at-bats in there, some uncharacteristic mistakes that we hadn't made through the whole season, and I completely attribute that to the fact that we were pressing. You know, we knew the value of those games late in the season, and I think that's one area where, as a group, we need to do a better job, staff, players, of handling those situations a little bit better as we get into this year.
Speak a little bit about the team chemistry with the 10 returners and all your newcomers. How is that where you want it to be going into next week's season opener? Talk a little bit about that.
I think it's getting better and better every day. It was absolutely a concern in the fall, just because, you know, you get into it and you got 10 returners, you got 12 new people, a lot of people to kind of onboard, if you will. But as we've gotten back to practice in January, I think it's an area where we've grown for sure. And you just see you almost see it in almost the side banner and the side conversations and the things that go on at practice. And we're definitely seeing more and more of the chemistry just growing and getting better. And I also think once you start traveling, I mean, we're going to be together for 16 days out of the next 28, whether we like it or not. And I think once you start spending all that time together on the road and you really start to get to know people better, your teammates, your players, from your coaches, I think that the chemistry continues to grow from that spot. So I think that's something that'll continue to evolve as we go through the season, but I do think we're in a pretty good spot right now with that.
And then last question I think I have is, with these preseason non-conference, however you want to term it, are you set on a lineup, or do you want to mix it up a little bit to be ready for conference play and get to the ultimate goal, which is the MAC tournament?
No, that's a good question. I think, I mean, I have an idea in my head. We as a staff have an idea in our heads of maybe what our best lineup looks like right now. But we definitely do. We have so much more depth this year that there are people that we want to get at bats and we want to see play some innings, and we want to. So I don't know that we'll have a truly set lineup until we get maybe to week 3 or 4. And I think we want to give some people some opportunity and just kind of see. Obviously, we played some scrimmages and whatnot in the fall, and we've scrimmaged ourselves for the last couple weekends. But it's a little different when the bullets are real, right? So I think we're going to see what some people can do over the course of the next couple weeks and kind of start to hone in on what does our best lineup truly look like. Maybe it's not what we think it is right now today. So we're gonna see and kind of go from there, see where it takes us.